Welcome students. Today we are going to study Sonnet 55 of William Shakespeare called Not Marble Nor Gilded Monuments. It talks about the futility of constructing statues and monuments by the rich and mighty to immortalize themselves, as time destroys all such constructs. Before we start with the explanation of the poem, let us learn a bit about the poet. William Shakespeare is one of the most widely known names in world literature, who continues to influence and amaze people across the world to this day. Shakespeare was a prolific writer of the Elizabethan age of British theatre, which is sometimes referred to as the English Renaissance or the early modern period. His plays are perhaps his most enduring legacy, but they are not the only things he wrote. Shakespeare's sonnets have also remained popular to this day. William Shakespeare continues to be an inspiration for playwrights and poets to this date. Let us now begin with the poem. Not marble nor the gilded monuments of princes shall outlive this powerful rhyme, but you shall shine more bright in these contents than unswept stone besmeared with sluttish time. When wasteful war shall statues overturn and broils root out the work of masonry, nor Mars his sword, nor war's quick fire shall burn the living record of your memory. 'Gainst death and all oblivious enmity shall you pace forth, your praise shall still find room, even in the eyes of all posterity that wear this world out to the ending doom. So, till the judgment that yourself arise, you live in this and dwell in lovers' eyes. One word that you'll hear throughout this video, and probably later as well, is the term sonnet. Do you remember what that means? Fear not, for we'll now take a quick recap of what a sonnet is. This poem is just one of many examples of a sonnet. Sonnets are 14-line poems with a variable rhyme scheme that originated in Italy and was introduced to English literature in the 16th century. There are many types of sonnets, like the Petrarchan sonnet or the Shakespearean sonnet. The poem that we'll analyze right now is a Shakespearean sonnet, which consists of 3 quatrains or 4-line stanzas, followed by a couplet or a stanza of 2 lines. It is characterized by the use of iambic pentameter or blank verse. Iambic pentameter refers to the use of 5 iambs or 1 unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable in a single stanza line. The poem that we are about to study is one of the more than 150 sonnets that Shakespeare published during his lifetime. In the poem, we find out that the poet talks about how a work of literature is immortal and is immune to the destruction of time. While gilded monuments or grand structures made out of marble are pleasing to the eye, they cannot stand the test of time. History has seen many princes who performed glorious deeds that seemed godlike. Yet, they have been swept away by the winds of time. Statues and great works of masonry, which once were erected to commemorate some great king, perish due to the destructive forces of war. Remember one such king who wanted his own statue made and remembered by posterity? Yes, we are talking about another poem in your syllabus, Ozymandias. You may say that the 2 poems have a somewhat similar theme. The poet compares war and time with ruthless enemies who remove everything that lie in their path without any consideration for their beauty and worth. The person in whose memory the monuments were erected, too, slips into oblivion as these structures of marble crumble with time. The poet addresses his beloved friend through the words of his poem, assuring him or her that his work will survive the vagaries of time. As long as a single person is left alive to read the poem, the memory of the poet's friend too will persist. The glory of the poet's works is left for all future generations to admire and is thus timeless. The concluding couplet gives the impression of impending doom. In most religions, Judgment Day refers to the event when the world ends and God will judge all souls. In this sonnet, the reference to Judgment Day is most probably a biblical allusion. The poet says that till doomsday, his muse or his object of devotion will continue to live through the words of his poem. Shakespeare, thus, builds a figurative monument for his beloved, one that is truly immortal and stands the test of time. Note that the poet does not reveal the gender or identity of the person for whom he dedicates the poem. He addresses his muse in second person, you. And that's all for today. We shall now take off, leaving you to wonder about the sonnetteer's muse. In our next video, we shall quickly recap the main features of the sonnet. Till then, goodbye.